Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the program. I'm Hala Gorani, sitting in for Christiane Amanpour. In Atlanta, where it is really, and I mean really cold, negative 13 degrees Celsius as we speak. And Atlanta is not alone. A punishing air mass is hovering over much of the United States. So how cold is it? Well, CNN's Stephanie Elam was in Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday, where her cup of boiling hot coffee turned to snow the instant it hit the frigid air. Scientists call this weather pattern the polar vortex, a mass of cold air that slipped its leash in the Arctic and wandered off down south. So while the U.S. is experiencing Arctic temperatures, the Arctic itself is no colder than, that's right, Atlanta, Georgia. And extreme weather is not just a U.S. phenomenon, of course. In the United Kingdom, flood warnings have been issued for large swaths of the coast as torrential rain and exceptionally high tides pound England, Scotland, and Wales. Meanwhile, Australia is being blitzed by a heat wave, with temperatures reaching above 50 degrees Celsius in places. That's more than 120 Fahrenheit. Water supplies are dwindling in the outback and crops are roasting. This comes on the tail of a sweltering 2013, Australia's hottest year ever. Another member of the population is thriving. The polar bear in Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo is in her element, literally. And while plunging temperatures may be unbearable for the rest of us, we might recall Mark Twain's famous comment that everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. Sadly, despite recent efforts, the same might be said for the Israeli-Palestinian peace talks. Ari Shavit, one of Israel's most influential columnists, shares the frustration about lack of progress as well as an abiding love for his problematic promised land. When we come back. Welcome back to the program. I'm Hala Gorani, sitting in for Christiane Amanpour. Israelis and Palestinians may not be able to reach an initial peace deal by the target date in April. Since we're always looking for hopeful signs in the region, they're hard to find. The temperature in Jerusalem today was almost balmy in the high 50s. However, for many of the rest of us, especially here in the U.S., the weather outside is frightful. Have our modern conveniences and high-tech forms of communication made us even more vulnerable to Mother Nature? We'll take a snow day and find out when we come back. And a final thought tonight. Remember when Grandpa used to brag, when I was your age, I walked 5 miles through the snow just to get to school? Nowadays, all it takes is the threat of snow and frigid temperatures to close schools, cancel flights, and turn TV weather people into prophets of doom and the rest of us into cave dwellers waiting out the apocalypse. But imagine a world where the weather may or may not be worse, but we may be in danger of becoming wimps. So suggests Christopher Howes, writing in The Telegraph, and maybe he's onto something. Winter storms used to make our ancestors huddle together to stay warm, like penguins. In Holland, Britain, and America, they even had a word for it called bundling. Who knows, without that primitive thermal solution, we might not even be their descendants. Bundling isn't big these days. Instead, we stay connected via social media and depend on state-of-the-art technology to get us places and to heat our schools, offices, and homes. Progress is wonderful, but it does come at a price. A storm that brought out the best in our great-grandparents and also brought them closer to their neighbors can now leave us isolated, unplugged, and unable to deal with nature's fury. That's going to do it for our program tonight. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from the CNN Center.